So, Liz, quick question. I know we are almost starting, but I got a quick question for you, like really, really quick. I know the World Cup is happening, and a lot of things are like around the globe. Which team are you supporting for the World Cup?
Peter, please, I don't want to laugh about this. Am I supporting any team? Can we talk about basketball? When are we playing basketball?
No, I know this
I
is.
don't know if I don't know if
I'm just curious about your team because, like, obviously, as you play basketball, there is more that we need to start looking at because just like they play basketball, it's the same way they might be playing football. And I see other few friends joining. I see Linus is joining us online. Um, Linus, I'm sure you will chime in into this conversation as we get on. Are you able to hear me, Linus or Elizabeth?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. Yeah.
All right, cool. I know Elizabeth was to tell us a bit about her footballing skills before we dive right in. So Liz, chime right in, we get on. Tell me the team. I'm curious about the team, to be honest.
Peter, as
Mm,
I mentioned earlier,
yeah.
I will go by the game. Recently, I was watching, the other day, I was watching Mexico play South Africa. So, as the games continue, I think I will unveil my team. So today, I am a neutral party. I am watching the games. I'm being a lady.
I know you are running away from the main question, but Liz, nice to see you and nice to have you on with us today. Really, really exciting to be seeing the work you are getting onto around Imarisha Usawa and Usawa Festival as a whole. So, Liz, I know there's a lot of things happening around the country, and purely this is what like you are deeply, deeply passionate about. I know 16 lives were just lost. I think early this month through some tragedy in schools due to school unrest. Young people are burning their schools. Parents are having like really really hard time. Students are struggling. The leaders are struggling. I just wanted to hear your views on this before we dive deeper into this conversation. What is happening to the girl child and what is actually happening in the society? What are your views, Liz?
Peter, it's sad that we have to start with the sad stories, but we are here for this because this is why we are doing what we are doing. It takes leadership for us to even have such kind of stories. Leadership at different levels, at the highest level, and at the young people's level, because just listening to all these stories and looking at what is happening, we also realize that these young people are being led to act the way they are acting. So it is amazing that we are having this conversation and this is happening in our country because it speaks largely on the youth leadership that probably we've been ignoring for the longest time. The young people are leading themselves. And leadership is relative. You can be leading yourself to the right direction, but also leading yourself to the wrong direction. And as Waliuba and as Imadosawa, we are looking at building young leaders, building agency in them. So we have to be really keen in what we are building, in what we are the outcomes that we are getting from the leaders, because we cannot have the young people leading on the negative side. So it is really sad. And I will say that just to encourage our young people and condone with the families that in as much as that we want our voices to be heard, we have to look at how are we engaging, what are we doing, and what do we communicate when we are leading, because we have to lead right as young people. Yes, Peter.
Right. I think that is a really, really exciting space to get this conversation started because I know you are doing a lot of work with the girl child, and your aim is to ensure that this girl child gets supported to achieve their goal and realize their full potential. So, probably that's why I wanted to start to get us started on that. So, officially, welcome to Ordinary Voices, where our aim is to bring ordinary voices like yours who most often are always left behind, but you always do some amazing work that actually needs to be brought to limelight so that all these things that we do can incorporate probably every member of the society and we can probably end all these vices and all this unrest we are currently seeing. Liz, look, I know you as the champion for SDGs Impact League 2025, which I know you call like a fellowship. And for me, that was like really, really hard. And how you manage it to get to the champion, I still don't know. That is my description of Liz. But I know somebody like, I know John Linus is joining online and somebody will watch this one. I rarely put my words into people's mouths. But I want you to introduce yourself to somebody who is watching this now or who will watch it later. Who is Liz? What does she do? And why does she actually do what she does? So talk to us. Tell us a bit about yourself, Liz.
Thank you so much, Peter, and thank you for the brief introduction. Yes, I am a champion. So to everyone, my name is Elizabeth Waliuba. I am a health professional in the field of public health and health system management. And on the side, I'm a very passionate gender and youth advocate. And this is why we are here today, because of my passion. I also lead Imarisha Usawa, and Imarisha Usawa is a non-profit organization that is advancing inclusion, gender equality, and youth empowerment, as well as looking at the areas on sustainable development goals through advocacy, leadership development, positive leadership development, and promoting intergenerational action and collaboration for the achievement of SDGs. And our main focus is SDG number 5. So, Peter, we work with young people, we work with community organizations, we work with learning institutions, policy makers, and other CSOs to localize action for the SDGs, especially SDG number 5, creating inclusive spaces where we believe young people can meaningfully participate in decision-making processes. We continue saying that we are leaving no one behind. We continue advocating for the voices of the young people. So here at Imarisha Usawa, we are building platforms, inclusive platforms where the young people, the elderly, and every other sector can be involved in discussions, and not just discussions, but also action for achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals. That is a brief about Waliuba, Elizabeth. I believe that is enough for today.
All right. I know people are like, we rarely host these sessions, but we call this a special session because having watched you do what you do, see you struggle and to get started. For me, that is an inspiration. That is, for me, is like, we got to host a special session, get Liz to share a little bit about herself, what she does, and what probably other people could learn from it. Look, Liz, 10 years gone. Sustainable Development Goals were like launched by the United Nations 10 years ago. Like now we are saying 10 years and 9 months. Only 17% of these SDGs are on track. I know you are passionate about SDG 5. Meaning 87 of the Sustainable Development Goals are off track. And you having been on the ground, watching things happen, seeing all this stuff, we got lots of conferencing happening, lots of dialogues happening, lots of meetings, but we are still stuck at 17% on track on SDGs. I'll be curious, and these are the things, I'm not looking for things on reports. I'm looking for things on the ground. What is the reality on the ground that makes you feel that, look, Peter, this is why we have the Sustainable Development Goals at this state. What are your top 2 challenges or things you see that are making only 17% of SDGs to be on track? I'm keen on your views. Probably you could focus on your SDG 5.
Thank you so much, Peter, for that. And it is amazing. Yes, you have to be keen on the 17% because that is what we are doing. One thing I believe in, before I mention the 2 reasons why we are not achieving 17%, is looking back to why we are here today. You know, I remember when we were thinking of doing what we are doing, when we were still building, I would say Imarisha Usawa was not born in a boardroom, you know. It was born from the lived realities. And these lived realities informed us being here, informed the SDGs being at 17%. You look at our girls and young people in Bungoma County, there is growth realization that despite the decades of commitments, you've already mentioned 10 years plus, we are still experiencing gender inequalities. We are still experiencing gender inequity. We are still experiencing very deep-rooted cultural and social norms. So we are looking at the international frameworks, we're looking at the regional frameworks, we're looking at the national and locally available frameworks and actions around gender equity. But we still look at our girls and women, and they continue to face barriers that are limiting them to opportunities, leadership, safe spaces, and also participation in decision making. So growing up in such communities, especially in our county, Bungoma County, we continue to witness these recurrent challenges, gender-based violence, increase in teenage pregnancy, lack of representation for our young people, unequal participation in decision-making. And we have been listening to the global communities sounding alarm on the implementation of the SDGs, right? We have seen meetings around and conferences around implementation of the SDGs. And the last, in 2024, we had the United Nations Civil Society Conference that became, actually, I think it blew up the information about the achievement of the 17% only on the SDGs. And this raised a critical question for us, Peter. We asked ourselves, how do we move from these commitments to action? How do we get ourselves percent? What are we doing wrong? How can we? Right. So for us, about laying the strategies for localization of action, bringing these global commitments, bringing this global action to the county level, and it was informed by now the insights from our engagements that informed on why we are only at 17%. And I can openly tell you, Peter, that through our engagements, we were able to discover quite a number of information. And one that I think I will carry through is awareness. It has been 10 years down the line, but communities at the grassroots are still not aware of the SDGs. You can imagine, yet we were talking about 5 years to the Vision 2030. We are looking at the action for the SDGs, and we came to realize that implementers are in isolation. There is the Marisha Usawa, there's Global Youth Forum, there's another organization working on the other side. But then how do we bring these organizations together and be able to tackle these realities, be able to work together and I believe amplify the work that we are doing. And, I believe in the power of partnership and collaboration, because with that, we can be able to achieve more. Those are my key, amongst others, including commitment from both the younger generation and the older generation, and also looking at how we are reporting and utilizing data. I think I can speak so much on why we are only at 17%, but let me leave it at that for now, Peter.
Oh, right. Yeah. I know, Liz, just key highlights, like a bit about awareness, talking about awareness, collaboration, people working in silos. People are not like you seeing the data that are like from the grassroots and from the ground. So people are just doing their own stuff, if you see what I mean. But we are stuck with that. I'm just watching football now. Again, I must come back to football, and you will not make me run away from this one. I watched South Africa versus Mexico the other day. And Liz, I thought to myself, imagine if all leaders or member states represent their people like the teams are representing their countries at the World Cup, and just say, look, we got 90 minutes to help our people live better lives. How will that look like? Those are some of the things as I watch football and as we think around our football initiatives. I'm like, if the leaders and the people work together just like the football teams are representing their countries at this World Cup, for them to win, and for us as a member state or young people like at the grassroots level, working together like that to ensure we all have good lives, I think life can be so interesting. And I know that is purely like when you have leagues like basketball league, you got cricket and all that. If people can adopt that spirit of sportsmanship, like now they're around World Cup, the world can be really, really a nice place. My friend, sorry for keeping you waiting. I know you guys have been waiting for Usawa Festival. And what is this Usawa Festival? What is this Balance 360? Now we get into it. So Liz, somebody's meeting you for the first time, and this person is wondering, what is Usawa Festival? And there is Balance 360. So I'm curious for you to tell an audience who is listening now or who will listen to this later, where did this Usawa Festival begin? And what is it actually for? And where is it heading? So let's start with that, Liz.
Thank you so much, Peter, for this opportunity to share about Usawa Festival. You mentioned Usawa Festival, you mentioned Balance 360. And we know even as young people, we know as individuals, when we grow up, we continue to morph, we continue to evolve. So this is just an evolution of Usawa Festival. In 2024, after the United Nations Civil Society Conference, we had outcomes. And one of the outcomes was intergenerational action for achievement of sustainable development goals and also promotion of the Pact of the Future. And one of the key aspects in it was involvement of the youth, the young people. So through that and our lived realities, we were inspired to engage with Club 17. Somebody will ask Club 17 what Club 17 is. I believe Peter is in a better position to answer that. But basically, Club 17 is a global movement that champions the local action for the Sustainable Development Goals. And we are proud that we were part of it. And we are proud that through our journey and implementation, you had previously Peter mentioned about us or me being a champion, but it is an us. Our team were the champions of the SDG Impact League. So the Club 17 came on board, and we were 17 leaders acting for the 17 SDGs, right? And with each leader, we were working on localization of action. We were working on bringing the global goals into realities in our communities. And it was just not in Kenya, but it was also implemented in other areas, including Pakistani. I believe there was a participant from Ghana and other global areas. So through that, we worked with the communities. We went into the communities with one aim, getting the SDGs at 100%. And we discovered so many other reasons why the SDGs were at 17%. As I mentioned earlier, low awareness, lack of commitment, stakeholders working in isolation. And from that, building with the communities, we were able to come up with an initiative that saw that everyone was involved. The younger people were involved, the older people were involved. And one of the outcomes or one of the insights was that sports is a unifier. Sports is the unifying ground for everyone. And this was actually seen in our last edition, where when we came together, everybody felt like they were equal. We didn't come in wearing our big coats. We didn't come in wearing our big titles. When we came in for the Usawa Festival, everyone was equal and people were able to engage equally. They were able to open up and discuss. The younger people were having discussions with those in leadership position. So that was a little bit of the journey, how we got into the Usawa Festival. And if I can share a little bit about the Usawa Festival, this is a youth-led, community-driven platform that utilizes sports, particularly basketball, that I am very passionate about, and dialogue, as well as action to advance gender equality and social justice, looking at our main focus, which is SDG number 5. And I will say that we do not just engage in any kind of dialogue. These are intergenerational dialogue that brings on board the younger people and the elderly to be able to co-create solutions that best suits their communities, because it is community-centered and it is youth-led. So we are bringing the elderly, we are bringing the younger people to have these discussions and then co-create solutions where now they can go into action. Why we are doing this is because there has been a lot of conversations, there's been a lot of conferences being held around the world, but then when it comes to real action and creating real impact, we saw a gap. So that is why we are moving from just conversation and translating them into actionable actions and also activities at community level. So in a snapshot about Usawa Festival, we are looking at the realities of our communities. In my community, Bungoma County, there is really high levels of gender-based violence that translates to high rates of teenage pregnancies. We're also looking at how our young people, and especially girls and women, are being involved in decision-making. We realize that there's limited leadership opportunities for our young people. So through this initiative, we are here to create spaces where young people, especially our girls and young women, can be able to lead. they can build their confidence, create leadership pathways for them to advance from one position to another. And as I mentioned earlier, gender is broad. When we are talking about gender disparities, we're just not looking at gender-based violence or teenage pregnancies only. So through our platform, we are able to look at the different intersects of gender. We are here to look at health. This is just on the side. Education, building access, equal access to sports. We are looking at economic inclusion for young girls and women. We are looking at meaningful youth participation, as I already mentioned, and also barriers to justice for the young people. So if you look at how Usawa Festival is designed, it's here to holistically address the gender disparities that continue to suppress the thriving of our young girls and women in the community. So Usawa Festival evolved from Balance 360 during the Club 17. And through our last year's engagement, I am proud to say that people no longer just want conferences and then they go back into their cocoons and wait for another conference. Yeah, it was very evident that people want continuity of action. And from that, we evolved and we came up with Sauti za Usawa hubs. Somebody will ask, what are Sauti za Usawa hubs? Sauti za Usawa are intergenerational hubs that are anchored in basketball clubs at community level and in our schools. So because the young people wanted more, we said that we can continue building and creating change through these hubs that are led by themselves. And in these hubs, they're able to create solutions for their own communities, because we believe that people know best their communities. So they can be able to engage people, leaders, civil societies in the communities, and they can be able to co-create solutions. So that was one of the key aspects and evolution of the Usawa Festival that has led to the arising of the intergenerational hubs that look at bringing together the young leaders, the women leaders, especially community elders, policy makers, the young people, development partners, to be able to co-create these solutions. And these hubs create safe spaces where there is knowledge sharing, there is mentorship between the young and the older, there's community problem solving, SDGs localization at its best, I can say that, and there's also leadership development through the mentorship. So that is a snapshot of what we have and what we've been able to develop. And this year we are looking at hosting the second edition of Usawa Festival, which will be held at Kibabii University in Bungoma County, Kenya, with a theme of leading power, giving the young people power and also enabling them to access their right to justice. So this year's theme recognizes that leadership and justice are totally inseparable. We have seen what has been able to happen in our country currently, looking at what is happening in the education sector. So, there's the aspect of leadership there, and there's also the aspect of these people who've been affected accessing justice at a different level, and that's another discussion for another day. So through this session or through this year's event, we plan to engage young women. Those are basketball clubs. We plan to engage elderly women. We plan to engage different sectors just to come together for 3 days, intense 3 days of capacity building, intergenerational dialogue, and where we are looking at coming up with gender responsive leadership, inclusive governance, protecting our girls and women as well as their rights, promotion of access to justice, and also building up on youth participation in decision making. The key highlights for this year, Peter, if you allow me take a little bit more of your time, is that we have, last year we had the Usawa Festival that engaged participants from Bungoma County. But this year there's a regional expansion where we'll be engaging participants from Trans Nzoia, Kisumu, Kakamega, as well as our host community that is Bungoma County. And the beauty of it is the intergenerational summit that is looking at developing, engaging policymakers and the community leaders as well as the young people with an intention of developing a county gender priorities and recommendation for the from an intergenerational view with a focus on the youth voices and insights. So we are here, we are still building, we are still acting, and I believe that this platform or this initiative has already shown us the power of sports. We've been able to see sports not just as an entertainment, but also as a platform that can build up on policy influencing, that can build up on youth leadership, and that can also promote awareness and action for the sustainable development. That is basically what Usawa Festival is here and is doing and what it intends to do.
I think there is a lot in there that people need to think around.
Yes.
But yeah, really, really good insight there. I do like that idea of people finding their own solutions. And then when people find their own solutions, there are higher chances that they will implement those solutions. Liz, I can confirm to you that when we were in Nairobi, I know we connected through the civil society conference. I can tell you that 20 impact coalitions were formed. And people were excited around all that conference. So there was a lot of like really, really good talk. And you listen even to these talks around the world, you get like, how come the leaders are talking like really, really nicely of what is actually on the ground? But when you follow them through to what actually needs to be done, then there is a gap in there. So there is a gap of what is being talked in these conferences and all this gathering to what is being actually implemented. And I'm glad you've been able to follow through that up to this stage, where like now we have our festival, we have Balance 360, and you are now bringing more people with you. You are now extending to other counties. You are bringing Kisumu, you are bringing Trans Nzoia, and you only started with Kakamega. Before we know it, this will be a national movement, East Africa, Africa, and then we get Balance 360 to the world. And that for me, it is one single story that needs to be amplified. People gather, millions gather, or billions gather. But you always find 1 or 2, 3 people who are like going out there to actually do the work. How can we then scale that? These few individuals, how can we amplify their messages? How can we empower them to actually do the work that we do? So if I was to meet you after Usawa Festival 2026, what will you tell me? That, Peter, this is what we set to do. Now somebody like this one, you need to be direct on this one, Liz. If you were to achieve 3 things with Usawa Festival 2026, what will those 3 things be?
Wow, Peter and his questions. Thank you so much, Peter, for that question. If you were to achieve 3 things, one is we are looking at engaging 120 direct engagement of 120 young leaders. I call them young leaders, our participants. And we look at capacity building them. We look at continuity of engagement throughout the next year with them. And with that, I believe that 3 key achievements will be bringing these people to Kibabii University and having them for the 3 days. The next achievement will be the development of the gender strategy, because we believe that for us to be able to tackle, gender strategy, development of the gender priorities and recommendation for the county, for Bungoma County, I believe that for us to be able to, for us to end GBV, for us to be able to reduce teenage pregnancy and unintended pregnancy amongst our young people, we need to be strategic in the implementation of the gender strategy. We need to have the youth voices. So with this, if we are able to develop it, I believe that this will be a plus for us moving forward into ending violence against girls and women and also reducing unintended pregnancy in our community. The third one will be us coming together, the strategic partnership that we are looking at developing, because we know that this cannot be a one-man job or initiative. So if we have partners, strategic partners who can be able to handhold us and work with us through this journey, because our vision does not end in just meeting or reaching this 120 girls. We aim to get to 5,000 girls by the end of our period, that is 2025 to 2029. So we have a bigger vision of reaching at least 5,000 young girls and equipping them with leadership skills, knowledge, and also creating a very clear pathway for them to be able to become agents of change in their community. And we believe that through basketball, through Sawa Festival, we can be able to achieve that. So we are calling upon all and everyone who's passionate about SDG 5. If you're passionate about SDGs, because we know SDG 5 intersects so many other SDGs, please come and let us build this. Those will be my 3 achievements, Peter.
I will come on your neck end of next year before you host the next Sawa Festival. Probably I should have an agent to count these girls who will be there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 until 120. And then by 2029, we will be catching up. And Liz talked about 5,000 girls. Tell me how many you have reached. And then, and I'm keen on the capacity building and leadership. We will be keen on looking at how that looks like. But again, I know you are in the building. So learning as you move along, you might miss the 5,000 or you might even miss the 120. But what you will have achieved will be something worth following, because I know you follow through like really, really keenly. So Liz, I know Global Youth Forum, we just held Inter-County Football for the Goals Championship. And I tell you, that was hectic. Shout out to all volunteers and people who made all this happen. So somebody's catching up and following this, and they're like, oh, okay. Now I'm starting to understand. For the guests or people following, we don't expect you to understand it now. It takes time. You will understand it as we move along, because there is a lot going on. But this person is like really, really specific. And he said, Peter, let me come back again and say, I met an individual after or before our Inter-County Football for the Goals Championship. And this person asked, Peter, how are you getting the partners? They seem to be really difficult and challenging to get. How are you getting these partners? So I'm like, okay. I went on and explained myself to him. So I wanted to pose the same question to you. I know you are building like really, really good program that will empower girls, will get young people, not only their voices, but get them to take some real actions. What are your experiences on the ground? And this one is no messing around. It's like, what is your real experiences on the ground? And I think this person was right. The partners are like really, really difficult to get, and they have a lot of things they are dealing with. What is your experience both in Nairobi and in Bungoma? Are you getting some partners, or what's going on? Tell me, how are the partnership building coming along?
Peter, partners are also asking for what they want.
Yeah.
Amazing. Not value. Mm-hmm. They are coming in with their own demands, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You can imagine, instead of partners coming to give value, mm-hmm. they are asking for take homes.
Yeah.
And this is something this is the reality on the ground, Peter, because if you look at how we engage, we totally engage. I'm very proud of the partners that we've been able to bring on board since last year, and the ones who are coming on board this year.
Because maybe you can give them a shout out, please. You know, these partners who come on board, if people give them shout out, I'm like, because they're like believing in what you are doing.
Mm-hmm. So we have quite a number of partners who are coming on board during this coming Sawa Festival. I would not like to miss anyone. We have the county government of Bungoma that has really been supportive to us in terms of building strategically with us. We have Kenya Basketball Federation, because we are utilizing basketball for change. We have a very big partner who's walked this journey with us, that is Together for SDGs, that is a global intergenerational hub that Imarisha Usawa is also part to, and they've been able to develop this initiative with us, building with the communities, utilizing the building with communities framework. I believe I got that right. And I believe that through them, we've been able to enhance our intergenerational action and engagements. We have Hoops Kenya, that is it's a national platform that has been, or national organization that has been able to create a platform that utilizes basketball data for development. I really love data, and I believe that they are doing a great job Global Youth Forum, who's hosting us here today. We can speak so much about them. We have Amani Kibera, who's supporting on matters peace and also menstrual hygiene. We are Vikapo, that is Vikapo Elite, that has been doing capacity building around basketball development with us. We have UNESCO Youth, Kenya UNESCO Youth Forum, that has also supported us immensely in building this initiative. Youth for SDGs Kenya, the network that is building with us. I am sorry I'm in the village, so you'll be hearing all these other animals joining into our meeting. We have so many other partners. I hope I'm not leaving anyone behind, but I believe that through our engagements, we'll continue highlighting what they are doing and what they've been able to support. So yes, these partners have come on board, and maybe sometimes, Peter, when people look at our, when we do the polls and they see hundreds of partners, they believe it is easy. No, I can tell you it's not easy. It's not easy to get people on board. It's not easy to get people who don't understand the vision on board, because when partners are coming on board and they are also demanding not for value, but for, I don't know how to best speak about this or best place this. Yeah. They are asking, they have their own asks, and it's not related to the value of what we are giving. So it becomes really challenging to engage people who do not understand or who are there, but I believe they're not committed to the impact. We are continuing building. We are continuing speaking to more partners, but I believe that we need to just look at partnership and the engagements that we are building at a very different angle. With that, we can think about collaboration differently, because we believe that through partnership, through multi-sectoral approach is when we'll be able to achieve our goals and visions. And this is not just for SDG 5, it's cutting across all other engagements. Partnership is important, but then we have, I think, to reimagine partnership. We have to have value and purpose-driven partnership. We have to come on board and not ask, but at least give, That is my experience, Peter.
Lisa, I think the partners are just right, because you cannot go anywhere and then you just expect to get things. But I get where you are coming from. Like, look, the young people are struggling, and that is something I've noticed. And I'll give you just a quick example. Like, when the leaders plan their things, they just expect that young people will show up. They will put it on social media or they will write it somewhere, and young people will crowd the rooms. And that is the trend. Even you go to these big partners, because they just expect young people are idle, and they take advantage of this youth unemployment status, for example, in Africa, and look at Kenya, 15%. Now, for them, it is like, we will put it on social media, or we will just do it out there and the young people will fill the rooms for us. On the other side, the young people coming and planning their things, and you go to these partners and people, now they expect you to be very formal. Oh, can I give you my email? Oh, can I link you to XYZ? Oh, can you do this one? So there are a lot of demands from the young people side that is not on the other partner side, or the people who are in power and all that. Or do a proper proposal, or do this one. If you turn around and say, well, you also just invited us for your conference and you never did an email, then they label you as a stubborn. So for me, I'm looking at this in a different angle and saying, look, these double standards, how can we then support these young people without using the old system or gatekeeping to bar them from achieving their goals? For example, we were speaking just a few days ago and we are like, can we work together first and see how your systems work? And can I coach you? Can I guide you? And can I show you what actually works? But the old systems are there, barring people. I'm proud that you've got another partners who have been able to, we believe in you. You can do it. And as you build along, you will build structures and you will make this thing work. Not so many want to do that. So for me, I'm just really, really happy that you are able to get 2-3 partners who believe in you. They are willing to learn, they are willing to walk with you the journey, and they are willing to co-create with you. So shout out to all of them. Lisa, I know we are almost coming to the end, but we do have a few more minutes to keep the conversation going. I know you've been asking for volunteers, and I know this is International Year for Volunteers. So volunteers make really, really huge impact. We wouldn't be where we are if people like you did not volunteer your time, or people like other volunteers that have worked with, giving our time to do what we do. Volunteerism brings like really huge impact, especially to young people who, when we don't have funds and we don't have resources. And I see one of your partners in the call. Shout out, John. Look, I know you are asking for a few things. You are to meet a partner today, or a partner might listen to this call, and you are to ask only 4 things. What are these 4 things that you like to ask from a partner, from a young person, or from any person who might even say, I want to go and watch this Usawa festival so that I can balance it at 360. What will your ask be? I'm curious. It can be even, you can ask me if you like.
Yes, I'm asking you, Peter. And everyone who's listening or who will be listening later.
Yeah.
So our biggest ask is because we're not just looking at this ask for the Usawa Festival, but beyond Usawa Festival. As I mentioned earlier, we have a 5 years plan that looks at building agency and leadership amongst young people. So we are building partnership around different areas. One of the biggest areas is capacity building, and we would like to train, mentor and develop leaders around the communities that we are serving, We're also building partners around gender justice and protection. So we would like to strengthen safeguarding, prevent gender-based violence and access to justice, and support access to justice, as well as build on other areas, intersecting areas, mental health, build on protection mechanisms for women and girls, not just in Bungoma County, but at large. As you have seen, the region is expanding. We are also looking at building on our insights for the Usawa Festival. As I mentioned, this year we'll be doing the gender priorities and brief. So we are looking at partners who are rich in research and documentation to be able to build and strengthen and enhance our impact. And lastly, we know that we cannot be able to do this without resources, So as partners, we are also seeking your support. It could be financial support, it could be in-kind donations, it could be direct support towards our programs, because we believe that through your strategic partnerships and supports towards resource mobilization, we can be able to reach the target. We said 5,000. Peter has that in mind, and we have to attain the 5,000 goal. So those will be our key asks, amongst other asks. But I believe that when we sit down, we can be able to tailor, engagements that serves both parties for collaboration and partnership, and also look at the impact we want to create in our communities.
Personally, this is personal commitment. Please don't chase Global Youth Forum. For capacity building on leadership, for you can always count on me. That is personal. Whether we get into Global Youth Forum or their members or staff, we will have a chat with them. But I do know they support. I remind them about what Liz does and what you do with basketball. For me, count on me on leadership and that capacity building. That is on public domain now. So if I run away, you just say, Peter, you did say. But I want you to look at this one as we almost come to the end of this good conversation that we might have going forward. And obviously, I know you will be utilizing digital tools to continue amplifying these messages. We got the CS of sports in Kenya. And a lot of things are happening. Every federation are doing their own stuff. I don't know if even they're doing them properly, but I know they are doing things. But a lot of things really needs to be changed, to be honest. If we are to achieve the SDGs by 2030, old systems cannot serve us. And the noise makers cannot get us there. We need sober minds. We need people who deeply care about these things that we do, not just people who talk about them. I want you to imagine you are meeting Salim Vuria, Honorable Salim Vuria, on a lift to Talanta Stadium. And you have only 2 minutes with him. And this one, you are not only focusing on the basketball, but you are looking at the entire youth aspect and sports as an ecosystem in Kenya. What will you tell him to do that will transform the sports and youth ecosystem to end youth unemployment in Kenya?
Wow. Thank you so much, Peter, for that question. You got me here thinking. I am meeting Salim. What will I tell him for him to transform the youth ecosystem in Kenya? One thing that I believe in is that our government is and should be the force behind all that what we are doing. So whatever we are doing is complementing their work, right?
Yeah.
So I would advise, just as you've mentioned, to have innovative way in youth engagement. And one of the innovative ways is actually sports. That is his docket. So we need to look at sports beyond entertainment. We need to look at sports beyond the power that it has been given, because sports is a huge mobilizer for communities, and not just the young people, even for the elderly. Sports is an equalizer for everyone, It builds movements, it builds capacity, it leads communities to thrive. And when young people participate, they can be able to be involved at different capacities and different levels. So I would like to advise our CS and our PSs who are in community, but today I'll be speaking to the CS, is that sports is not just for entertainment, but it can be a driving force behind achieving more than just entertainment. It can be a driving force for empowerment, for advocacy, and also for building thriving communities. So I would like for us to reimagine sports and build around the youth voices, around what we are doing, to see it more as a channel or as a tool for empowerment.
All right. Maybe he might not listen, but somebody's listening that might be the next CS. You got the message right there. Liz, I'm coming back to this question again. Somebody's listening to this and you are coming to the end of the session. This is a person, or this is a young lady who like feels hopeless and just like, well, my life, I don't know the direction my life is taking. And I'm just confused. Things are not working. Education system is not working. My parents cannot do this one. I cannot do that. I cannot do this one. And they're just hopeless. You having been where you are, doing what you do, what message do you have to this young lady or young man that might inspire them to believe that, I could actually pick myself up and achieve something with my life? All is not lost. What's your message?
My message, and the beauty of this message, is that we have seen it firsthand. My message is that this young person is not alone. Today, we are standing in a very critical moment. And I believe that the challenges that are facing our young girls, young women, are very complex, and they can be able to see it. So by coming together and speaking out, you can be able to find a solution. So my simple message will be: speak out. Don't stay in your cocoon. Your challenge is not an isolated case, but we have people who can be able to listen to you. We have, with our festival, we have Global Youth Forum here with you. So just speak out and always come out and speak on the challenges that you are facing. And I believe that just through understanding and, through the engagements that we have, we can be able to come up with better solutions for ourselves. And one thing that I also believe in, Peter, this is just an extra, is that when you have a problem, you already have a solution to it. So you just need a catalyst, and we are here to catalyze that. Thank you.
Stay on there with me, Liz, but I know Linus is there. Linus, I know you've been listening behind the scene, and I know you are one of the partners for Usawa Festival. Do you want to chime in and just say a word based on what you've heard? And probably you are called. I know you do some work with the UNESCO Youth and a lot of things. And I know we met also a number of times at the UNHQ in Nairobi. So do you have a word? Anything you choose to share in the next 2 minutes for Liz just to hear? Yeah.
Yes, fine. Thank you very much. I wish I could turn on my camera. I'm really thankful and really grateful for this timely conversation. I just took my time to listen to what Elizabeth is talking about, and it really gives me joy to see young people creating solutions, transforming communities, and most importantly, working towards creating more opportunities for young people. So what I know for sure is that all these things can't be done alone. You can't do it alone. I can't do it alone. And that is why there is need for collaboration and meaningful engagement. So I'm always very intentional on how I do connect and how I do my things right now, because I know for sure if we are deeply intentional about what we do, and deeply intentional about creating meaningful connection, creating meaningful solutions, then for sure the world will be better than we found it. And for from your interview with the Elizabeth, I can tell you for sure that there is need for this kind of engagements. And trust me, a number of youths will learn from them. A number of youths will be inspired. A number of youths will get opportunity to express themselves, to share what they are doing in different parts of the world. I know a number of youths are really doing great work. And because they've not just come out to showcase to world what they are really doing. So my call is one, to be more intentional in everything that we're doing, and two is to believe that we have the power to transform and create meaningful solutions to the problems that we do face in our current world today. And most importantly, my call is also to invest in young people, invest in talents, invest in activities just like Kusawa Festival. So any partner who is listening, any person who is listening to this who has got an opportunity to join this timely conversation, or who might be listening to the recording, what I can tell you is that young people have the energy to transform our communities. What we need is well structured mentorship, well structured support, and also I'm not shy to say that we need finances. We need funds to make things move. Because of course, without money, without finances, sometimes our ideas might just remain to be ideas. And if you invest in us, we'll not disappoint you, and we will make the world a better place. So it is a joint collaboration, a joint call, and this need for intergenerational collaboration, just like the work that Usaha Festival is in line with. There's young people always bring the energy, but also we need the wisdom and the knowledge from those who came before us. So I believe that together we can drive positive change, and together we can change our community. So thank you very much, and I'm really happy, Peter, of what you're doing, and I think I've not appreciated you. And continue with the good work. It is not always easy to do all this that you're doing. And also, Elizabeth, continue with the good work. I know there are always challenges, but we keep motivating each other. We keep sharing and reaching out when there's need to share ideas. And thank you very much. I can talk much, but I know the time also is not on our side. But really thankful. I've really learned a lot from what Elizabeth shared, and I'm equally challenged. And I'm going to pull up my socks to see how best we bridge the gaps and areas where we are not doing our best. So thank you very much, Peter. Thank you very much, Elizabeth. I can't wait to learn and join as many conversations as this one in the coming future. So back to you, and thanks very much. I'm really humbled and thankful. Yeah.
All right. Liz, I know we are coming to an end. And Linus, I know you mentioned money. We got 100,000, Liz. Ensure you submit you are eligible, by the way. So all members who are watching this, based on what Liz and other young people we have engaged, young people come up with all these initiatives and there is no support. And us having learned with them and co-created with them, now we are setting up a Sports for SDG fund. So when you see me with a billion signature ball, my friend, if you can donate, we call it Cheza na Kakitu, please donate. We are building a Sports for SDG fund. And this year, we will be selecting top 2 good ideas. Each of them will be going away with 50,000 Kenya shillings. So you ask for the money is there. All you do now to get us the impact that we can measure is what matters. Because at some stage, you realize even people want this money and they don't know what to do with it. It is squandered and it is lost and everything is lost. So we are setting something for the youth. So we wanted, because Linus, you brought that up, I wanted to put that to your attention, Liz. Don't miss out on that. It is for all across our programs and you are eligible as well. Please do apply and we will be able to work things out. And obviously, judges will be looking at who's the best to get this money. Liz, coming to the end of this, your final message.
Thank you so much, Peter. I'm already excited. There's 100,000 somewhere waiting for us. And we already appreciating before we receive it. So thank you so much, Peter. Before I give my final message, I would just like to appreciate Global Youth Forum through your leadership, Peter, and Ordinary Voices for giving us a platform to share about Usawa Festival, because I know this is a special session and we do not take it for granted. We believe that there is a reason why we've been given this opportunity, and the reason is to continue amplifying our voices and speaking on what we are doing. So thank you so much for this opportunity. My last words will be to the general community, to everyone who's listening and everyone who's watching. We know the challenges that are facing our girls and women are really complex, but it is only through our collective action that there is potential to create change. So I'm calling on everyone, I'm calling on the government to invest in young people and create gender responsive solutions and development partners to support locally led initiatives that create lasting impacts like Usawa Festival, because we have seen the shift in funding, and we believe that development partners can be able to come in handy to support youth and locally led initiatives. To our civil societies who are working together around the thematic areas that we are both aligned in, let us collaborate, let us shun competition, let us build collective action for equality and justice, because I know through collaboration, we can be able to achieve more. Our private partners and education institutions, let us invest in young people and nurture the next generation of ethical and also transformative leaders, because we have seen what we can be able to do through the power of sports and through the power of Usawa Festival. So this year, as we'll be gathering at Bungoma in Kibabi University under the theme Power to Lead and Right to Justice, we are urging everyone to move beyond conversations, just like we are doing. Let us get to the commitments. Let us get to the actions. Let us build systems that are listening to us. Let us create opportunities for young people's empowerment, and let us champion justice that include everyone. I believe that the future of gender equality is not just decided in conference rooms. That's why we are doing everything locally. It will be shaped in our communities. It will be shaped in our schools. It will be shaped on those basketball courts. It will be shaped in our daily actions. When you are acting out there, if you're an employer, if you are a student, if you are a partner, what you are doing. Do ask yourself one thing. Is it promoting gender equality? Is it promoting equity? As I close, I am just here to tell us that the time is now for us to act. Let us all act for the good of our community. Let us build these just communities that we continue to believe the future is bright if we all come together. So thank you, Peter, for this opportunity, and that is it from us.
My friend, that has been Ordinary Voices special edition, where Liz have just shared more insights about Usawa Festival and where they are balancing it at 360. So join in and let's see you next time.